What do you think we should call this film?
An ode to the Irresistible Adams.
Which way are we going?
Oh, we're in. Look at those red spots there. Oh, nice. Now the rain's come on. So the Five Lochs is a shame, but it's definitely my favourite one. Feeling Mill probably don't want their name for that.
Smile.
I've got bacon in my tea.
I've just put like a total amount of coffee in here so that in the week of Hill and Gale I can pour some hot coffee.
Some currant sweet cakes, millionaire shortbread, and some fruit. What more do you need? Here we go. We're ready.
There's a happy child at home. There's a happy child at home. In my memory I can see. Memory I can see. Standing out upon the hill. Standing out upon the hill. In the shadow of a tree. Shadow of a tree. If I only had my way. If I only
Lana, what is the plan?
So the plan is that we're going to go out to some remote hill lochs. It's pretty windy and it's pretty wild down here, so it's going to be even worse up there. But we do have a plan B. We can come back down. We've got some lower level ones we can go to if it is wild up there. And I've not actually fished these lochs before when it hasn't been quite still and dry and low water. And it's a bit cooler, even though it's early August, it's only 13 degrees. And we've had quite a bit of rain overnight, so that'll have cooled it down quite a lot. So I don't know what's going to happen.
What's the weather saying, Lana?
The weather is wet. Now and for the rest of the day.
Which way are we going?
So we've got a lot of lochs to choose from. The wind's like southwesterly at the moment, so ideally we want to be kind of on the downwind side of the loch. I find that tends to be better. The trout, we tend to feed on that end just because all the stuff is blown down there. But on a day like today, it's a bit cold, there's not really going to be a hatch on. I think we've got a chance anywhere, to be honest. I think we just have to try.
Summer trout fishing film, right?
Summer trout fishing, it's early August, it feels like October. I really don't have an awful lot on me. I'm carrying my rod and I have things around my neck. I have a man with me today, which is useful because he can carry things. So he's got flies and a net, so I don't really need to worry.
What is it about this sort of fishing you enjoy?
I love the fact that it's in the middle of nowhere. I love the fact that you don't really know what you're going to see or what's going to happen or what you're going to get. And I know that's similar with fishing a lot of the time, but these lochs out here, you might get something that's £1/4 pound, but you also might get a £10 brownie in the tiny loch, and that's quite exciting. Also the nature aspect of it, like we saw a hen harrier earlier on the way here, we saw a roebuck, all the different sort of plants and insects. I just love it. I think that's the main reason I love being out, and yeah, it's great catching fish, and it's like exciting, that initial feeling of hooking one and playing it. But see the brown trout out here, they're just beautiful, like, and there's such a variety in the spots and the colouring and the sizes, and yeah, it's just awesome.
Did you grow up on fishing for small brownies before you got into salmon and sea trout?
Yeah, so initially started fishing for brown trout, well, as young as like I can remember really, and then as a toddler obviously I'd go out with my parents, but I caught my first fish on the fly when I was 4 on my own and that was a trout. And then yeah, I've grown up fishing hill lochs and little streams, and well, we call them burns. So this is really my bread and butter. And in weather like today is quite fitting as well, to be honest. Welcome to the Highlands.
What's this?
Bog Myrtle. So it has a really distinct smell. There's an old wives' tale that says if you rub it on yourself it keeps the midges away. I don't know if that works. I think it's a bit of a placebo.
I don't know if we're going to be troubled by midges today.
No, we're not going to be troubled today. It does smell really nice. Somebody needs to make a Bog Myrtle candle. Yeah. Ideally what you would see coming over this hill on a nice day is loads of trout just coming up and slurping flies off the surface. Not today. So it's a bit of guesswork required today. I've still got a dry fly on. My go-to fly this year, and last year actually, is an Irresistible Adams. I find in every scenario, in every part of Scotland, from trout fisheries to hill lochs to rivers, Irresistible Adams, it says it in the name, they just have to have it. So even though there's not a hatch on, it's cold, it's wild, I've got an Irresistible Adams on. Quite a small one actually as well. And we'll see if that works. If not, I'll put a bigger muddler on, because I quite like a bit of a wave. And if they just aren't surface feeding, then I'll resort to a wet fly. Don't really want to have to, but we'll see how we go. I quite like this corner that's a wee bit sheltered. So I might go and have a wee flick down here. Like I'll start by casting quite close into the shore. And you never know. Greg will probably catch something first. It's not because he's more skilled than me, he's just jammy. Oh! Look, one of the perks.
What was that?
A blueberry. Or a blueberry, as it's more commonly known.
Have you ever seen anybody else fishing when you've walked up into this?
Never.
Never.
Never. People do come up here, but very rarely, because you have to walk to get here, and usually if it involves a long walk, nobody's really keen. But no, I doubt we'll see anyone today. Oh, bugger.
First cast though.
It's nice to know they're feeding on top, you know?
How do you fish the Adams?
I I fish it by chucking it out and letting it fish around itself and just taking in any slack. So today's cool because we've got an inshore wind here and it's kind of moving around on its own and I'm just picking up the slack. So like I did the first cast when I had that take, I'm really just letting it fish itself. Not that technical at all. Try over here. It's not sat on top. Oh, oh, bugger! Yeah, I was just about to critique that it wasn't sat on top, but that doesn't seem to matter because the trout just took it anyway. Now it's sat on top.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Now the rain's come on.
What's the best fish you've had from up in these lochs?
I've had one about £2, which if you hook a £2 brownie up in a hill loch, anyone that's had that happen to them knows it's pretty exciting. A lot of people might not think a £2 fish is that big, but a £2 wild brownie, you won't forget that in a long time. When it's windy like this and you've got the wind like darting across the surface of the water and you're watching a dry fly, it can be quite distracting. Like I find myself getting quite jumpy because there's so many little waves and movements in the water. It's hard to distinguish what's a fish and what's not. It's easy to see fish and get a couple takes and want to stay in the same spot for hours, but I've made that mistake too many times because you're wasting your time. I usually find you have success pretty much instantly or you need to move on. Maybe that's the wrong attitude, but it's my thought anyway. Greg's going that way. I don't want to go that way. I'm going to go, see the reeds down there, there's like a little kind of, the loch goes in to a sort of narrow bay. So we're going to go over there. Probably quite shallow, but they'll go in there and feed about and mooch about. Brown trout are always on the mooch. So.
Next up on the nature channel,
We have a wild orchid. They're beautiful. And they used to be quite rare, but I've actually seen quite a lot of them this year, which is good. And you're not allowed to pick them, they are protected. So nobody get any ideas. There's blaeberry everywhere here. Quite big ones. Oh, fish over there. Oh, we're in. Oh, goodness me, the midges. It's a nice trout, actually.
Met a woman,
Good
got
trout.
engaged, time passed, wedding day. Then my feet turned cold at the tone of those wedding bells.
Beautiful.
I felt bad, everybody
In you
got
come,
dressed
buddy.
up, but I knew I'd messed up, so I had to
Irresistible
confess that all I
Adams.
really
Strikes
wanted was
again.
just to get drunk as hell.
Look at these, aren't they gorgeous? Look at those red spots there. So pretty. Right, we're going to unhook him. There you go, buddy.
let's see the fly.
I mean, if I was a trout, I would eat that too.
And that is what you fish with 90% of the time, is it?
Oh, for trout 90% of the time. Well, the last year anyway, 2 years. It doesn't fail me, ever, in any conditions. Maybe I shouldn't be sharing that. Maybe I should go and buy a heap now before you release this film before they sell out.
Sit down
Right.
for a spell. A few minutes
You
in,
never,
you said, so
ever get used to midges.
you got stand
Anyone that says they do are
drunk as hell.
crazy. Oh,
Have you told everyone what you're fishing with yet?
no, well, yeah, I suppose I better do that. So, I have got here a 9'5" weight Nam Wren, which is a great rod. It really speaks for itself. Anyone who's tried one will know. Oh, come on. And then I've got an old reel that sometimes jams, and it takes ages to reel in. It's really not that practical, but it sounds great and it looks quite cool. And if you get something over £1 on it, it's a bit scary. And it cost me £10 in an antique shop near Inverness. And I've got £8 fluoro on, the Mill Masterclass stuff. And then I've got, what's that? Size 18, Irresistible Adams. And if I have to change my leader, it'll have to be £12.2 Masterclass fluoro, because I forgot to bring the £8 stuff with me. And if I want to change my fly, then I'm a bit ashamed to show this, but this is the fly box of shame. It's my favourite fly box, and that's why it's called the fly box of shame. But you know what, there's everything in there that you could possibly need. Little muddlers, nymphy type things, beetles.
That will give
Big.
people heart palpitations.
Yeah. You know what, I'm absolutely fine with that because I love it. And I know exactly what's in there. And sometimes if it's windy, things blow out. That's okay. So the fly box of shame, but it's definitely my favourite one. Feeling Mill probably don't want their name to that. I didn't expect that actually. The Irresistible Adams is irresistible Adamsing. I'm going to dry him off a little bit, get him floating. Now again, if nothing happens, call me impatient, but I move it.
Have you always kept your fishing simple, or was there a time when you tried to go down the...
He's off again. I'm going to blame you for that because you're asking me a question.
that was
When I was young, yeah, it was definitely simple. I went through a phase in my late teens when I kind of got back into fishing in a big way. Woo! He's off again! That I started to get a bit more technical, and you know what? It started to kind of scunner me a little bit. Some people are super into that and they live for it, and that's cool, but I really just love, like, I've had the same fly on the whole time. Oh god, I've got another tangle. We've moved around different areas of the loch, different lochs, and you're getting like take after take after take, and there's really no reason for me to change the fly. And yeah, I know it can be fun to experiment, and this really is me changing my mindset just within the last year or so. I mean, before that, especially with salmon, I'd be super techie, like I'd put, you know, I'd try a hitch. If the hitch didn't work, I'd try a little kind of subsurface fly. If that didn't work, I'd put on something a little bit heavy. But now, if I'm fishing for salmon in the summer, I'll have a stoat's tail on. Oh, did you see that trout rise over there? Let's try and get him. Stoat's tail on, and if that doesn't work, then I'll try something different. But I find, keep it simple, have one fly on. The best fly you can fish is one you're confident in and enjoy fishing, and usually that does the job. And if not, then go to plan B. But I think changing it just for the sake of changing it is a bit pointless in my mind.
Should we talk about those 3 fish you just lost on the chop?
Just going to put a little bit more line out. What I find on, my reel's starting to get a bit sticky, what I find on hill lochs and any kind of loch fishing, I can't remember what you call the white lines, I call them like wind lines. The fish, it's another old wives' tale, that they sit kind of either side of the lines and feed in the lines, because it's quite often, again I don't know. Oh wow, Greg! He's just got a good one. That's a good trout!
Bonny fish. Do you ever fish droppers?
Yeah, I do. I fish droppers actually more for salmon than for trout, which people probably find a bit odd, but trout, I like having one fly.
Greg's got another one.
Greg's quicker than I am. Greg is actually a far more enthusiastic fisher. Maybe this film should be about Greg instead. That's a good one.
Do you think there's a chance Greg catches more fish because he spends less time eating blueberries?
Absolutely. Definitely. Ooh. It's a nice one. Ooh. He's trying to hide in that weed. Right, I'm going to go down here with him. I'm going to walk the trout. Come on. Quite slippy. See if he's thinking he's ready to come in. Ooh. Look at that adipose as well, that red rim around the top. Stunning. Absolutely beautiful. And look at that gold around his eye. Like that is gold, like proper golden. And he's almost got like a green tinge in his scales on his back and his belly. Look at that. Right. He's hooked really nicely. It should be easy just to kind of unhook him, she says. There we go. And there he is. There you go, buddy. Well done, Greg! Whee! I just caught the smallest fish ever. So the weather is getting pretty crazy, so we found a little sheltered bay. I've tried a couple flies other than the Irresistible Adams because things went a bit quiet, but they didn't work. So we're going to change back. This is when I can't get it out of my hat. Uh-oh. So we're going to change back to the Adams, and I don't doubt that it'll work. Oh, there's the sun coming back out again. There's blue sky. There we we go. They just can't resist it. Irresistible. Woo. There's a little bit of weed in here. I'm just trying to get myself caught around that. Come on, buddy. What a take. He totally, he knew he wanted that. Look at that. See you later. There are bigger ones in here, but you know what? So you catching little brownies like quarter of a pound, half a pound, pound. I do it all day. I mean, I do know that there's a salmon river in Spate that we can go and fish, but this is good also. This is great.